This is episode 17. My name is Marie, and I'm coming to you from central New Hampshire. This is my knitting podcast where I talk about all the things that are on my needles and off my needles, things I'd like to cast on, yarny acquisitions, and all the other fun knitting stuff I can find. You can find me on Instagram as Old Time Knits and on Ravelry as Old Time Knits. Thank you to everybody who has supported me in my podcasting venture. This has been so much fun, and it continues to be a big joy in my life. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Anyway, if you'd like to have some fun with me today, then come on in and let's get started. All right, I'm going to start with what I'm wearing. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. So this is hot off the needles. I just finished it. This is the Corran cardigan by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea. She has a podcast, and she is brilliant with her designs. So I was looking for a lightweight cardigan for the summer to just throw over as the weather cools down in the evenings, and this ticked off every box. So let me stand up so I can show you. I will insert some footage of me wearing it. I have a picture of me with it pre-blocking, and then some video of me with it styled. I like to do that so you can see it a little bit better. So here it is. I'm so in love with it. It is everything I ever wanted. I'm calling this finished. I do need to get some buttons for it, but let me sit down and I can talk to you a little bit more about it. So this is a bottom-up construction, which is the first time I have done that. You knit it to the armholes and then you separate for the sleeves, and you do the backs and the back and the fronts separately. You continue up, and then you 3-needle bind off on the shoulders, and then you pick up the sleeves and knit them in the round. The pattern has so many variations on it. You can knit this in the crew neck, which is what I did, or there's a V-neck, and you can knit it in short sleeves or long sleeves. I chose a 3/4 sleeve because I only had 3 skeins of yarn, and I wasn't sure how much I was going to use. Plus, I like a 3/4 sleeve. I think I've told you all before that I'm a 6'1" person, so to find things long for me is hard. And so I generally end up with 3/4 sleeves anyway. I could have made them long sleeve, but I didn't think it was necessary, particularly because I'm using it for, summer and warmer weather. So yes, it is amazing. So let me talk about the yarn. So the yarn that I'm using is new to me. I went to my local yarn shop, which is the Elegant U in Concord, New Hampshire. And I talked to them. I brought my pattern with me, and they recommended this yarn. I was looking for a lighter weight. I think Rebecca had done hers in a wool worsted weight wool yarn, and but some of her testers did it in a variety of yarns. I was looking for cotton, but not 100% cotton. Excuse me. I wanted a wool cotton because cotton alone tends to hurt my hands. So anyway, oh my gosh, babbling. I'm so excited about this, I can't help it. So this is the yarn that I chose. It is called Sea Isle Cotton, and it is from Plymouth Yarns. It is a 50% organic Pima cotton and 50% fine wool. And there are 329 yards to 100 grams. This yarn is amazing. I didn't have any trouble with it in any way, shape, or form. So here is what I had left. I started with 3 skeins, And this is the sand dollar colorway. So this is one of those, let's see if I can show you guys, chainette construction yarns. And it was so easy to work with. It was beautiful, and the drape is just fantastic. So my gauge was a little bit off when I started. I had more stitches than the pattern called for. The pattern called for a 14 stitch gauge, and I think mine was 16. And so the way I remember gauge is when you have more stitches, you get a less size. So I went up a size on the pattern so that I could be sure that it would fit me. And it was tricky to figure out gauge on this particular pattern because you do it in, you do your swatch in pattern, and I found that a little difficult to measure. So I wasn't even sure if I was on gauge. But anyway, so I used, the pattern called for a US size 8 needle, and I went up to a 10.5. I think that Rebecca's yarn choice was a little bit thicker than mine. This was more of a DK. Although it's listed as worsted, it really knit up more like a DK. And yes, so I will, I think I already said I have a picture of this pre-blocking, because it was a little small and a little short. I added a couple inches in length, and I found that it was difficult to estimate what I was going to end up with because it was a bottom up sweater. And if I were to knit this again, I would add just a little bit more in the body before I split for the sleeve, because I do have such a long torso. I will say that this pattern is not necessarily a beginner friendly pattern, and it's not that the lace is hard, but there are a lot of moving parts when you split for the sleeves. You have stitches on hold, and you're working with some, and you have to, you know, bind off for sleeves, and you have to remember where you are in the pattern. And so it's a little tricky. I would say an adventurous beginner would do okay. You know, like I said, the pattern's not hard. It's just there's a lot going on, and I got tripped up a few times when I went to split for the sleeves, but was able to save myself. And you guys, look at my button bands. Come on. I struggle with button bands so bad. Look at, don't they look awesome? I am so proud of myself. I was determined that I was going to learn how to do a proper button band, and there are not instructions. Well, there are instructions on how to pick it, you know, what to pick up, and sorry, something blowing around here, in the pattern. But I went in and found some tutorials. In particular, I went into my wardrobe toolbox, which I am a part of for the current season, from Libby Johnson of Truly Myrtle, and I found a tutorial on how to pick up stitches properly, and game changer, game changer. So I am so proud of myself. Like I said, I do still need to do buttons, but I did do buttonholes. Very proud, very proud. And so now I think I can probably feel more confident in my knitting of cardigans, because I'm not afraid of the button band now, because I finally realize how to do this so that it, you know, doesn't look all wonky, and it doesn't shrink in, and it doesn't gather up, and super happy. So yes, pre-blocking was really something. I was worried, and then I blocked the heck out of this. And because this is a cotton wool blend, I was able to get it to grow a little bit widthwise, and then substantially lengthwise, and it just landed just perfect. It's just the perfect length, and it's the perfect width. And like I said, I need to get buttons for it. And I did want to mention I'm going to go to my local yarn shop. Saturday is local yarn shop day. The date is April 29th. So if you have a local yarn store, you should go on Saturday because they're celebrating. And so I'm going to get some buttons. I want to bring it in and show them and be able to pick out buttons there too. So yes, I'm so sorry that was such a long ramble, but that is how happy I am with this cardigan. It's everything I could want in a summer cardigan. It's not going to be hot. It's not going to be wrinkly if you want to just toss it in the back of your car when you're going out. I mean, it's going to go with so many different things. I just can't. I can't even. I'm jumping for joy. So this was probably one of my most favorite knits because the product and end result is just fabulous. And I am on a mission to really work on getting some things that like this that just knock my socks off, literally. So anyway, that is what I am wearing. Okay, and on to finished objects. This was my first finished object, by the way. And my second finished object was a work in progress on my last episode. And it is a sample knit for Michelle of Woolens and Nosh. And here it is, all done. Ta-da! This is called the Thripe Mirror, and it's by Isolde Teague. And I looked up Thripe Mirror. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. And it is a water reservoir in Edinburgh. And I think they said in the mid-1800s it fed the mills. It doesn't do that anymore, but that was the quick information that I found about it. Anyway, this is a sample using Michelle's yarns, and what a fantastic knit. So look, here's my color work. It was so much fun to do, and Michelle's yarn is just dreamy. So let me talk about her yarns. I used a US size 4 needle, and this is Michelle's card, her band, and this is her non-superwash merino fingering. It's 100% merino. It's a 4-ply, and there's 434 yards on 115 grams. And this is, the main color was roasted butternut. So I started with 3 skeins, and this is what I have left. And then there's the complementary colors. Oh, this one the cat got a hold of. I said that the last time, sorry. I think this is her Tempest colorway. And then this is Coffee House Jazz. I think I have those right. The yarn is delicious. So I knit the smallest size because it's a sample knit, so I was not able to, sorry for the wrinkles, I was not able to try it on. I said to Michelle that this sweater right here and this size would be perfect for Kristen Lair over at Woolen Vine Yarns. It's this tiny little thing. If you haven't, she has a podcast, weekly podcast, and if you haven't watched her, she's kind of fun to watch. I watch her as much as I can, but she's this tiny little thing. This is a size 32-inch bust. I've never knit anything so little except for my grandkids. It was a joy to knit. The chart was easy. It was 3 colors, and it just was a fantastic experience for me because I have not done a whole lot of color work. In fact, this is my only my second color work project. So I am so super happy with it. Gonna show you my floats because I know you want to see them. Here they are. So proud of them. There were a couple of floats that I probably should have caught, but I didn't. But in general, most of them didn't need to be caught. And it just came out so super good. So I followed the pattern as it was written, with the exception of the sleeves. I didn't do decreases on the sleeves. I just knit straight until the last 2 rows before the cuff, and I decreased 1 round, and then I decreased again another round to get to what I needed for stitches, and then just went to I think I used a size. I don't think I went down to the needle size that it called for. It was like a 2.5, US 2.5 they were calling for. So I just used the size 4 the whole way, and I don't think that it bothers anything. So I'm ready to ship this off to Michelle, and she will have yarn available for it. I don't know what her plan is, but happy to be done because it was a fingering weight. Oh my goodness, I never thought I would get to the end of the sleeves on that. So yeah, so that is my last finished object. All right, I'm going to move on to what is on my needles. I actually have a half finished object, and it is a pair of socks. And so these are my very scrappy socks that I'm doing for myself. I knew that I wanted to just use up some of these partial yarn balls that I have in my stash, and this is a great way to do it. I mean, they're kind of crazy looking, but does it really matter? So the yarns that I'm using are just a mishmash. I don't remember what the top one is. This is Life in the Long Grass, which I made a pair of socks for my husband for. And this is Frankie Gray Fibers. Don't remember the colorway. This is just a scrap that I had in my stash. And then this was A Girl in Her Wool. And I made a pair of socks for my granddaughter Annabelle out of this. And so I had enough to do, some scrappy. And so they're kind of crazy looking, but I think they're kind of fun and cool. Just a basic vanilla sock. I always forget to take my stitch markers out. But yeah, so it was a really great way to use up some yarns. I mean, these are all really nice yarns still. So this is DK weight. And I'm on a US 3 needle. I don't have a pattern. I just, figured out what worked for my knitting and for my feet and my socks. And I do have links to project pages, and everything I talk about will be in the show notes down below. But I do have a second one on the needles. And I am very close to being done, so I look forward to having those done. I just have the toe to go. I'm almost to the toe. So that was a really fun way to use up some of these, like half skeins of yarn. This is what I have left for this sock. So I will have some left over of this. Maybe I'll use it in toes of something else. But all of the others, I pretty much used up what I had, and what was left was just the tiniest of scraps, and I just got rid of it because I can't. I can't hang on to all that many scraps because it's just too much. You have these piles and piles of it. All right, and the next work in progress that I have is also another sock. And I started this for a young girl that I work with. She's adorable. I made a hat for her for Christmas, and she was in love with it. So she's very knit-worthy. So here it is. All my ends. So this I love striped socks. Gosh, I love them so much. I just turned the heel and I'm on to the gusset decreases. Um, I just love the colors in this. So this was the Freckled Whimsy Yarn of the Month for April. I showed this in my last episode. I hope I didn't spoil it for anybody. I wasn't even thinking, and I apologize if you wanted to be surprised and saw that. And this is their Serendipity DK, which is my favorite. And the color is Long Time No See. This is amazing yarn. Really, it's one of my favorites for DK socks because it does have a little bit of nylon. And then I just grabbed another one of those yarn cakes out of my stash. This is actually a fingering weight. And I'm just holding it double for the heel, which is here. So it's a little bit thicker than the actual sock itself, but it doesn't matter. And I don't even know what this yarn actually is. I have no band for it. It was just floating around in my stash. So that is my second and only other work in progress. I spent a lot of time on the sweaters, and that that was a good hustle to get both of those done. And so I haven't decided yet what I want to cast on. I have a couple of thoughts of what I might like to cast on, but I don't know yet. So that is it for works in progress. Okay, next up, I want to talk about some fun future knits in the near future, actually. So I had my grandkids visited recently, and Annabelle, my granddaughter Annabelle, whom I've knit quite a few pair of socks for, was wearing 2 different socks that I made her. And I was like, what? What is the point here of making pairs if you're going to not wear them in pairs? And it was a big, fun, happy, giggly thing. But anyway, that kind of got me thinking, if they don't care about matching their socks, then why do I need to do pairs of socks? I mean, that's kind of just an excuse, I guess. But anyway, it got me thinking, because every time I make the kids a pair of socks, I have quite a bit of yarn left over. And so I have this basket, and these are all the different yarns that I've used on their socks. And I mean, there's some substantial amounts left here on these. So I have decided I'm going to knit some single socks out of these. Since they already have some of these and they like them, I'm just going to use up these and start knitting single socks for them. And then that spurred me to think about, why don't we do a make along? I think that this could be a really fun thing. I mean, who cares if it's a matching pair, especially for kids and grandkids? It's kind of fun, and it almost feels naughty. So anyway, I have decided I'm going to have a make along, and this is a great way to stash dive. It's just a fun thing. A lot of people have that second sock syndrome, and they just can't get to that second sock. So I am going to just knit some single socks for my grandkids, and I'm just going to give them to them that way. In fact, I kind of thought maybe I might just do a box of single socks for each of them for Christmas. I thought that might be kind of fun. And they're probably going to get the biggest kick out of that. So anyway, I started a Ravelry group. I know, who am I? I don't know if I did it right, but I started a welcome thread. You can go over there and introduce yourself. I need a place to chit chat some more with you guys, because I just love all of the interactions that we have. And I also started a chatter thread for this make along. And you'll see both of those threads over there. It is the Old Time Knits podcast forum or discussion board. It's a group. I think it's a group. I don't really know. I'm really not so great with Ravelry. I can, kind of manage my way through it. But if you have patience with me, and I can learn as I go. And I also am going to create a hashtag over on Instagram for those of you who like to use Instagram. And it will be single socks for the win. And I will put that on the screen here. Just a crazy kind of fun thing. So this make-along will run from May 1st to August 31st, since it's heading into warmer weather here in our in the US. I thought it would be a nice time to fire this up, because you can take a single sock on the go and it's not hot, and easy peasy to make during the summer. So anyway, if you would like to participate, you can head over to the Ravelry, and very laid back, very low key. And I'm going to rustle up some prizes, and I will also put a finished object thread over there as we get closer to May 1st, which is just a few days away. Good grief. Where did April go? So anyway, I thought that would be fun, and I hope that you will join me over there on Ravelry, and also feel free to, and please do, tag me on Instagram with your single socks. And I don't know, I have a lot of extra yarn here. I mean, what else are you going to do, especially with self-striping? It's hard. I mean, I guess you could do cuffs and toes and stuff, but I just thought it was kind of a fun thing, and why not host a make-along, because it's just what we do. So go ahead and join over on Ravelry, and I look forward to interacting with you all. Okay, and the last thing that I want to talk about, or the final thing in my process, is a few acquisitions that have come my way. And the first one is my monthly yarn club from Palmer Yarn. And oh boy, is this a super awesome color this month. So here it is. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. This is Palmer Yarn Company, and this is her soft sock set. It's in 80/20 merino nylon. 400 yards and 100 grams. And this is the Santorini colorway. I don't know what that means, but oh, this color, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So really still enjoying Kimberly's club. She does a beautiful job, and this is the squishiest yarn. It is just amazing. So at some point, when I see what the rest of the clubs bring, I have to plan a project or two. So that was one acquisition. And the second acquisition is another Yarn of the Month club for Woolens and Nosh. And I'm going to show it. Hopefully, this is for April. Hopefully you've all seen it. Michelle revealed it over on Instagram, so I think I'm safe to show it here. Here it is. Here's her label. And this is on our high twist DK. Oh, look at it. 100% superwash merino. It's a 3-ply yarn, and it is in her copper rose colorway. Gosh, look at that. And this mini, spectacular. It's so good. It's so good. I cannot wait to knit up with this. So many colors in here. So really, really beautiful. Great job, Michelle. Thank you. All right. And my next acquisition was from my local yarn store, the Elegant U. When I went in and purchased this yarn, and I realized it was so spectacular, and then I fell in love with the pattern. I decided to go back and get some more of this yarn. So Here it is. This is the Sea Isle cotton. And this is what it looks like in a hank. And so, again, it's 50% organic Pima cotton and 50% fine merino wool. And this is in the color Gloucester Gray. So I got 3 of them. And this is such a reasonable price point on this. It is, I think it's $17 US dollars for a skein. And you see the chain net construction, just really great. So I think I'm going to make another of these, or I hope to make another of these unless something else comes along and distracts me. But I think I might try a V-neck version of it. I'm choosing, excuse me, a neutral again because I just don't have any neutrals. What I really want is one of these in black. So that particular yarn does not come in black, but I may wait and do one in a wool in black. I'm not sure. That's just a whole bunch of chatterboxing and wishful thinking, probably. So anyway, all right. And the final acquisition, sorry. I have seen people, other podcasters and such, talking about this and decided that I would purchase one. Here it is. This is the greatest thing to have next to me when I am knitting on my table. This is a nice heavy duty, I don't remember what they actually call this, but this is from Paradise Island, and it is beautiful. So I keep it next to me on the on my table next to me with all of my, I have my notions pouch, I have my measuring tape, I have my little on the go from Thread and Maple, and then in the pockets, there's bigger pockets. I have my little scale. What else do I have in here? Oh, I have my needle gauge. I usually have a pair of scissors, and there's a couple of other slots. Beautiful made, really nice quality. Super nice leather handles, just really, really beautifully made. And I love, love, love this color, this olive color. So it was a splurge, and I'm happy I did it. It's a very, very useful tool. I used to have a giant basket on the floor next to me, and I found all it did was get cluttered. So I just like to have something with the essentials in it next to me. And this ticked off all the boxes. So I will link her down below. And she has a wide variety of beautiful, beautiful bags. I'm not sure which podcaster talked about it, but it's awesome. So, all right, that is it for acquisitions. And I just wanted to talk about a couple of fun little things that the grandkids gave me. And so if you were in it for the Nitty Chat, then, and you're still here, thank you so much. Anyway, there was a family fun night at the grandkids' elementary school. And they had crafties and stuff. And so Eloise made me this little guy. Is this not the cutest thing? This little turtle. So it's just 2 bowls with some construction paper, and then they just glued some construction paper on the top of the shell. I am always mind-boggled by these teachers who come up with these things. Adorable, absolutely adorable. So she said, I made this for you. So I brought that home. And then yesterday she popped in for a quickie visit, and hold on to your hat for this one because it blew me away. She said, I made you a yarn monster. Is this not the cutest thing ever? Look at it, it's got googly eyes. Oh my goodness. It's just a pipe cleaner with some yarn. They actually have it scrunched here, I guess, to hold the yarn. Isn't it funny? Oh my gosh, I almost died. She said, my teacher helped me make it. Now these are the kind of things that they just wreck me and squish me to pieces. So I thought you all would appreciate that very much. So thank you, Eloise. Not that she watches. My kids don't know I have a podcast. Don't tell them. They'll just make fun of me. They won't understand it or get it. They'll just make fun of me. So anyway, all right. And then I wanted to talk just a couple more things. One is a podcast that I am so enjoying. It is a non-knitting podcast, but it's so interesting. And if I had a family and young children, I would be doing what this girl is doing. So the name of the podcast is called Seed and Sparrow Homestead. I'll link it below. And the young girl's name is Chelsea, and she does all of this homemaking and homesteading and preparing meals for the freezer and gardening and preparing her own spice blends and preparing her own soups and taking care of her family and her home. It is really nice. And so, like I said, it's not knitting related, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I thought I would share that one with you. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is, I am not a young person anymore, and I do find it a little challenging to keep up with makeup routines. I have never been much for a whole lot of makeup, and so I have always wanted to have somebody do my makeup for me and teach me and learn a little bit more about skincare. And as I'm aging, I'm finding it way more challenging. So anyway, I did a little bit of research, and I'm not, I haven't done anything beyond this, but I did find a company that's local to me, and it's called Chris Cosmetics. And she has, I will link her website. On her website, she has a link to a tutorial for learning to apply makeup. And I really liked her because she wasn't over the top or super spazzy, or she just was pretty even keeled, and I learned a lot from it. And I wouldn't necessarily want all the makeup all the time, but I just thought it was interesting. And if anybody has any suggestions for that kind of thing, tutorials or brands that they really like for skincare, then leave them in the comments down below, because I'm super interested in it. And it's hard to keep up with what I'm supposed to be wearing. I don't really know what my colors are. In fact, speaking of podcasts, Casey over at Young Folk Knits had her colors analyzed and done. And I did do a quickie quiz online, and I'm not sure I answered all the questions right. But anyway, Casey had, in her last episode or her previous episode, had talked about having her colors done, and she had a link to someone who does that. And I always find that interesting too, because it's hard to tell I don't know if I'm warm or cool, what colors I'm supposed to be wearing. And I'm trying to step outside the box of always wearing t-shirts and jeans, because I find I fall into that trap. And I don't think it's uncommon to fall into that trap, but I'd like to, I got a couple of new things, and now I have my beautiful Corran cardigan. So, anyway, this was such a long episode, and I am so sorry. I had a lot to talk about. Everything will be linked down below. I hope that you are all well. I really appreciate all the support. I am chomping at the bit to get to my 1,000 subscribers. I'm closing in on it. I still have a little ways to go. So If you'd like to help me out, you can click on the subscribe and the like and all of that. I truly appreciate all of you, and I wish you well. So happy knitting and keep your needles clicking, and I will see you the next time. Bye.